Hey guys, I'm Victor, and welcome to another episode of Soccer Fan Perspective. This week, focusing on MLS Week 3, and I gotta say, this has been a tough week to watch actually. So I'm gonna do this video differently because there have been a lot of 0-0 ties. So I'm just gonna get those out of the way quickly because there isn't really much to say. So out of those games that ended in 0-0 draws, we have the New England Revolution versus the Montreal Impact, the Colorado Rapids versus New York City FC, and lastly, Sporting Kansas City versus Portland Timbers. Now, out of the first game, I'm still disappointed with New England Revolution. They don't seem to be picking up where they left off. It's frustrating to see their attack hasn't been as lethal as it should be, especially with the quality of players that they do have in their disposal. For Montreal, I'm not sure what to say about them at the moment. I'm not a big Klopas fan, but he's actually made the team better since he started. So there's that, and they're having excellent. They're having an excellent run in CCL. So that's about as much I can say about the Montreal Impact at the moment. Then for the Colorado versus New York City FC, underwhelming as well, especially for Colorado. They should take advantage of their home field advantage. And for New York City FC, I guess I could say I was impressed with their ability to manage a game in altitude. This is the first time that this team has faced or I've played in a situation like that. So to see them get a 0-0 draw is obviously a good thing for them. And lastly, the Sporting Kansas City versus Portland Timbers. Now, this one I actually can see a little bit more positive, especially going on the Portland side, because the defense has been a big issue last season. They've leaked out goals, and they've managed to come back from games last season because they were able to outscore their opponent or outshoot their opponent. But this year, it's all been about defense, and this reflects how well Caleb Porter has been focusing on that weakness, and getting a 0-0 draw again is obviously a good result for them away from home. As for Sporting Kansas City, again an underwhelming performance. They haven't been the same team that we all know and love, and Peter Ramirez, like I said last episode, has to do something because this team just doesn't seem to be cutting it at the moment. Now, going on to the more interesting games this season, we have the Philadelphia Union versus FC Dallas. Now, FC Dallas right now is the only undefeated team, if I'm not mistaken, but if that's wrong, please, guys, correct me. And I'm still not completely sold on it, especially because they've only faced Eastern Conference teams, and it's weird for me saying that because I'm a big Eastern Conference fan. My favorite team is in the Eastern Conference, and so the Eastern Conference has a bit more of a pull for me than the Western Conference, even though I can acknowledge that the Western Conference is the more a difficult conference to be in. And so them getting a 2-0 win basically solidifies that they're actually a pretty dangerous team. Now, I like what Oscar Breja has done with the team. However, I don't think they've reached their peak, especially because I don't feel that Mauro Diaz is being used to the best of his ability since FC Dallas is actually going more towards the wing play and kind of playing that counter-attacking soccer and not really playing through Mauro Diaz. But that's just my opinion. As for Philadelphia Union, I've liked what Jim Curtin has done with the team. However, they're in a bit of a slump at the moment. I was really excited, as most people were, to see Zach Pfeffer being given the keys to the car, so to speak. But it's really disappointing to see him go out the way he did with that red card. He said it was unintentional, but the foul is still a foul, and so I think the punishment fits the bill. Now, the next game, the not Colorado Rapids, the Orlando City FC versus the Vancouver Whitecaps. And the Vancouver Whitecaps, again, have been a very exciting team to watch. The play hasn't always been the best, but they've always added excitement to a game. And this was no different. Now, Orlando City FC, I think they played a good game. I think they might have even played better than the Vancouver Whitecaps. However, they just can't seem to finish off their opportunities. And this is a pattern that has been coming for the last three games. And another pattern that has arisen is basically that they don't seem to have a home field advantage, or at least it doesn't seem to reflect the home field advantage that they should have doesn't seem to be reflected on the field. We saw this with the New York City FC versus Orlando City FC game, where New York City FC actually started off winning, and at the same time the Vancouver Whitecaps took advantage of it. And I'm not sure whether it's the pressure that's getting to the team, or maybe this just the fact that this is a new franchise and they're still getting used to the system and the league. So I'll chalk it up to that. But it's very unfortunate that they lost in the last minute. Now, the next game on Saturday was the Los Angeles Galaxy versus the Houston Dynamo. which I'm glad we got goals because after all those 0-0 ties, we needed some excitement. Now, LA Galaxy managed to open up the scoreboard as they should, being the home team. But Houston Dynamo managed to tie, and it was I like the spectacular goal that was done. I thought it was great. And as for Coyle, I'm still not sure what he's trying to do with this team. Granted, it's only been 3 games, but from the moment I feel he's kind of Dom Kinnear-esque, where he says he wants to play stylistically, so to speak, but I'm not quite seeing that at the moment. I'm seeing more of a direct type of soccer, and at the moment it's working. But hopefully they'll be able to be flexible enough to change their system should this type of play not be effective. Now going on to the Sunday games. First off, the New York Red Bulls versus DC United. Now this is where I think we see the type of changes that Jesse Marsch can do to a team. Now in a previous video I actually stated that Jesse Marsch is a better coach than Mike Petke. I questioned whether he was a better fit than Mike Petke, but I undoubtedly think he's a better coach. And we can see it in this game clearly, the style that he's trying to implement on this team. And it worked. Granted, it was against DC United, who is my favorite team for those of you guys who don't know. But they're a very inconsistent team. They have plenty of ups and downs. The last game against Montreal, I thought they played pretty well. This game, they played piss poor, especially in the first half, which you clearly can tell by the comments that Ben Olsen made after the game. And Red Bulls deserved to win. They played the better game, and Dax McCarthy, I think, played a crucial part in that game. And I'm not sure if it's fair to say he's underrated anymore because his name has been put out there so much already that I don't think he would classify as an underrated player, but I think he's a very underappreciated player. I guess maybe that's the correct terminology. And lastly, the San Jose Earthquakes versus the Chicago Fire. Now, this was an exciting game because the San Jose Earthquakes were opening their new stadium, which I believe is called Avaya Stadium. And I gotta say, it's a very beautiful stadium. It was nice to watch there on Fox Sport 1, I believe. And the result was great for the team, especially because you want to open up the stadium with a win. And like I said in the previous video, if you want to start or open a new stadium with a win, then the best team to do it against is the Chicago Fire, who at the moment, I think I can say they are the worst team in MLS right now. They don't. I can't find many bright spots. Maybe Harry Shipp, who managed to get the goal. I think that's the only bright spot at the moment because their DPS aren't cutting, especially Maloney. I'm not quite sure why he's brought onto the team, but maybe it's just because the style at the moment isn't benefiting him. I I'm not quite sure. I don't think they're playing through him like they should, but that's up to the coach. And like I said, I'm not a big fan of Frank Yella, but maybe he'll be able to do something this week to improve the team for the next game to come. So that's it for this episode, guys. Thank you for watching. If you're interested in this content, then please subscribe to my channel. And until next time, see you all later.